Hi, this is a video about looking at LIDAR data in Nova Scotia. I'm going to show you a little bit of our code and then two images made from this. So the R code is what you're seeing at the moment. I moved my mouse around, so it's that window. I'm on line 4, which is just a blank line. So 2 lines above it on line 2, you can see the URL from which I got data. And I mean, I thought it would show you how to work that URL, but honestly, it's really tricky to figure out. I get myself caught in little loops where it's like you can't see anything on the map anymore. And I have no idea. I tried two different browsers and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. My guess would be it's set up for people doing Microsoft stuff, which ain't me. Anyway, so what I did was I downloaded some data near Halifax, Nova Scotia, where I live. And here's how I processed it. I'm in R, and the line I'm on now, you can see the lighter color. That's the line I'm on. So that line asks for a library called raster, and that's used to read the data set. I'm also using a library called OCE for the function imhp, which is down at the bottom. Okay, so I've downloaded it. You can tell I'm on a Mac, I guess here. I've downloaded it into something called in downloads called 1044 la 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 la. And so I don't know what is a raw dem and what is, I don't know all the things are. There's lots of different files, but this is just one that I picked. And I just visually looked in there and there's a file that ends in .tiff and it's big. So I figured, well, that must be it. Okay, so what I'm doing here at the end of line 8, it will now know the name of that file. And then I use this function from the raster library just called raster. And I'm reading it. You can tell I'm like a Fortran guy at heart. I'm naming everything with like single letters. So L will be the LIDAR object at the end of that. And then I'm defining some code, which I'll come to in just a second. But I use the code and I get something called H, which I'll say is elevation, like height for elevation. Maybe I'll go into the code just quickly. The raster thing gives you a matrix, but it gives it in a kind of a transposed and vertically flipped way. So that's what I'm doing here is I'm getting the values. Get values is a function in the raster package. And then I'm piping it into T for transpose. And then I'm flipping it in whatever this, I'll call it Y, but I'm flipping it in whatever you want to call the second dimension to be. And you, if you know how you know that I could have combined these into just one line, but okay. And then I'm asking for a PNG. I'm going to make a PNG object. I'm going to show you 2 of them. This one is going to be color coded in what's called the turbo scheme, and I also have one that's color coded in the default scheme that's used in OCE from the imhp function. I'm saying decimate is equal to false because it's really a big image. And what imhp does is it says, well, look, your screen is probably only 1,000 pixels wide. So your matrix is like 10,000 pixels wide. I'm only taking every 10th. I'm going to speed it up by a factor of 100 by only taking every 10th in the horizontal and vertical directions. If you say decimate it, that's called decimation. If you say decimate is false, it doesn't do that. ASP1 says, well, I want you to make this plot with 1-to-1 aspect ratio, because I can tell you that it's in like easting and northing values in meters. It's not in lawns and lats. So it's 1 meter, 10 meters, or 50, whatever is the footprint size. And you can tell all this by looking the footprint size and all that stuff. You can tell by looking at other stuff in here. And even I think in the TIFF file, that information is buried in there. I'm not too sure, but anyways, this L object has all that information. I mean, I might make it such that the OCE package could just read LiDAR files because I think they're quite nice. Not really oceanographic though, which would argue against that. In a few months, we'll have summer students around, so it might be fun for a summer student to maybe make a package to work with LiDAR data actually. Okay, so that's what the code is. And now I'll show you the images that get made. So this is the first image that gets made. If you don't know where Halifax is, well, here's where it is. The dark color here is water. This is sort of its elevation in meters. So of course the water is at 0 meters, more or less. Right, this is Halifax proper. I'm speaking to you from about where my mouse is right now. This thing here, oh, I can zoom up on this. Okay, this thing here is called the Citadel. It's an old fort protecting the harbor. This is the harbor here, protecting the harbor from bad people, which I think means the French at one time. It means the Americans at another time. This is a British outport, basically. Um, you can see the sort of ghosty thing here. This is these are some piers, and they have some elevation. To be honest, I think they may have done some special tricks when down near the water, and they may have done that for security reasons. I don't know that, but it wouldn't surprise me. That's the thing that sometimes is done. Um, and I won't say too much more, but the Canadian Navy is in this region. They don't really want to tell everyone all the details of everything, even just given the fairly coarse resolution here. Okay, so some other features. This is Point Pleasant Park, where everyone in Halifax who runs in Point Pleasant Park at some point in the run because it's gorgeous. And you get out of the city and it's just lovely. This weird blue thing here is the railway cut. So there's a railway that comes from the rest of Canada, the Trans-Canada Railway. And it comes here and it's cutting through rock and it gives access to the ports for shipping things. Okay, so that's what that is. And in Point Pleasant Park, you can see some sort of funny striations, which are pretty interesting. And I should ask my geology friends about that. This is basically rock. There is sediment as well, but it's basically rock. You can see remnants of the last ice age there. Actually, you can see scrape marks from like junk that was in the ice that was scraping over the rocks. There's a little island here. Over here, I mean, if you zoom enough, I don't know why this is still moving. Okay, here we go. You can see some sort of, what do I want to call them exactly? Urban landscapes. I don't know what to call them. Okay, let me see if I can go to the other image here. I know I've got two images loaded up, but I'm not. Let's just see if I can get the other image. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to be big. That's why I didn't show the sidebar. Okay, so what I've done here is I've used this wet salt turbo scheme. Now, it fools your eye. So your eye is drawn to certain colors, depending on your color blindness and so forth. But and that's why for many scientific purposes, I wouldn't use it. But when I'm looking for features, I often do turn it on because your eye can very clearly see red, that this is a darker red than this, and that's therefore a higher resolution. Elevations, what I mean to say. So this is the Citadel. You can see details of the Citadel. It's quite amazing. You can see details here in the harbor. It doesn't look like they've blurred it actually. So it's just a coloring thing. It's basically at sea level, right? So there's no point making one wharf higher than another wharf. So that's what's going on here. All these different little wharves and things. And there's stuff that I didn't know. I didn't know I am about where this is. And I guess I sort of knew it was a low-lying area here. But I wasn't too familiar with that, frankly. You can see some roads here. This is a big road nearby. Not sure if you can hear, there's a ship in the harbor. And it's just gorgeous features. Like if you're a geologist, you'd be interested in looking at some of these geological features. Let's maybe scoot over to the other side. And this is now what's called the Dartmouth side. And you see some ports here. And if you're familiar with it, there's a, what's it called? It's not distillery, but oil refinery stuff over here on this side. So you can see quite a lot of detail. This is an island, and it's sort of, I don't 100% know. I don't think it's a rocky island, so I guess maybe this is real, but it just seems, I don't know, it's funny looking, but it's interesting. Lots of interesting features all over the place here. I've actually spent some time looking at what's called the Tantrum. I'm sorry, I'm going around here. Spent some time looking at what's called the Tantramar Marsh, which is where I'm from, and just amazing features of things that you can see when you're walking by the marsh, but unless you go out on the marsh with sort of special gear and a lot of bug repellent, you wouldn't have seen these features. Amazing. Anyway, so that's probably the end of the video. All I'm saying, if I'll go back to this one, pretty easy. I might see if I can put this is only 18 lines of code. I don't know if when I upload this to YouTube, if I can add a description that can have code, but I'll see if I can do that anyways. Thanks for watching. Take care. Happy 2024. Bye-bye.